What's up YouTube? Retro Gamer Gen X back with another repair upgrade video for the Amiga 2000. So I have a ton of Amiga discs, guys. I've had them for years, ever since like the 90s. Bad thing is that over the years they have degraded, and probably out of the 200 some odd discs I have, probably about half of them don't work anymore. And along with that comes a lot of great games that I would love to play again on my Amiga, but I can't. That's until I actually got this product here. This is the Gotek Floppy Drive Emulator. Now I ordered this from China, and it did come pre-configured with Flash Floppy already on it, so I don't have to flash it. Even the jumpers are set to work with the Amiga. It does come with the encoder wheel here and also the screen, so I opted for the better options. It doesn't have the actual speaker in there though to emulate the drive sound. I just kind of think that's a little cheesy, so I left that out. Now what this thing does, guys, is that basically you put your USB flash drive in the front here, loaded with ADF or Amiga floppy images, and you load it on this thing, and then it loads onto your Amiga. So it should already be pre-configured and everything, so we just basically, it's going to be plug and play. We'll stick it in the Amiga and put a USB stick in and see where we go from there, guys. So let me go ahead and get the Amiga over here on the table. We get it taken apart, get this installed, and go ahead and see what this thing does. So here's the Amiga. If you guys remember, we did the repairs on this. Put the new sockets in, caps, the battery mod there. Cleaned everything up with the battery corrosion, and it's been working fine ever since. So we're going to move the Amiga out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and work on this part, the drive caddy. So now the thing with this Gotek, guys, I want to let you know is that it is actually smaller than the Amiga floppy drive. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap in here too. So that's going to suck, but we're definitely going to try to figure that out and get everything working on that. Alright, so let's get to that here. So now what we got to do is take these drives out, or this drive out here. So here is the floppy drives here. So they're held in with these screws underneath. Now, here we go. We can kind of see a difference here. So obviously, the original person that bought this computer upgraded to put the second drive in because there are different screws holding it in. So that was not factory fresh clicks, I felt. So the one we're going to take out is this one here, guys. Let me do that real quick. Alright, there we go. Now, as you can see, if we put this in there now, it's going to be way off there, guys. See that? So, we got to figure something else out here. So we have these standoffs on here. Alright, standoffs are installed. Now we just need to put it in there. Now what we got to do, the jumper in this one's set to DF0, and so is this one. So we got to set this one back to the regular DF1 jumper setting. As you can see, here's the jumpers right there. Alright, so that jumper's set correctly. So this is DF1 now, and this is DF0 as from the factory. Now DF0 on this would be having the jumper on S0 on the Gotek, just so you guys know. Alright, now we get this thing installed back on. All right, guys. Now for these screws here on the sides that this drive caddy, basically the drive caddy goes on top of right here, they basically are adjustable. So I'm not going to tighten those down too tight. I mean, they're tight enough to where it's not going to move. But once we get it back into the chassis of the Amiga and get the actual top cover and the face, you know, the bezel or whatever the hell that's called on there, then we'll just kind of make sure that these are kind of lined up. Like I said, I know the Gotek's going to have these gaps in between, but I want to make sure the original Amiga drive is in there nice and straight, basically. So let me go ahead and get to that now and put all that back together. Yeah, we're going to have to do some adjusting, guys. Let me adjust this a little bit. This has got to come forward. Yeah, that's about as good as she's going to get. So let's go ahead and put the case screws back in here. So there we go. We got the drives in. They're relatively straight. Like I said, this one has those nasty gaps in it just because it is smaller than the regular Amiga disk drive. So what do you do? I know they sell like 3D printed bezels for this, which I might end up getting just to make it look a little bit better. The beige color is more of the color of the case than it is the actual front of the Amiga. But yeah, oh well, looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get everything hooked up and see how this thing works here. Well, I have a USB stick plugged into my computer here. I have already formatted to FAT32 format. Pretty easy to do there. Then you want to go to the GitHub Flash Floppy downloads page here, and you want to download this zip file right here. And once you do that, my Gotek had an old Flash Floppy firmware on it. It was like 3.37. Now it's 3.38. So if you already have Flash Floppy on there, you can go ahead and update the firmware using the USB stick. So pretty easy. The instructions is here. So basically what you'll do is take the UDP file. Once you get the Flash Floppy, this is what's inside of that zip file that you get. This UDP file that you see right here, what you're going to do is put that in the root of your USB drive, okay? And what that'll do, that's the update file to update Flash Floppy, all right? Now, a couple other things that you want to put on the root of your flash drive. In here, you want to go to this folder here, the HXC compatibility mode, then click on, well, actually, you want to go ahead and put this file, this HXC whatever it is file, config file here, onto the root of your USB drive as well, and then go into the Amiga folder and put the Autoboot file on the root of your USB drive too. Okay, guys? So when you're all said and done, what your USB drive should look like is kind of like this. So I have a Workbench folder in here because I have a couple Workbench disks just to test out. Then the Autoboot folder, a file I told you guys about, and then this config file here, this HXC folder or whatever. And then the Flash Floppy update file. Now, let's go ahead and go back over to the computer. Now, the update here, I'm just going to tell you how to do it because I did it and I wasn't recording when I did it. Sorry, guys. So when you update that, basically you'll take off all the UDP files if you had them on there. Then you're going to put it on the root of your USB stick, just like it says. Then you're going to go ahead and put, obviously, the UDP file for the, the firmware that you have on there. And then you're going to go ahead and insert your USB stick in with both of the buttons on the front of the Gotek pressed in. You should only have to hold those in for a couple seconds, and you will see the light on the Gotek flash. That's when you can let go of it. It'll actually basically just start flashing itself, and it'll say when it's done, and then go back into the regular menu if you have the oil LED screen, or else just go back to the regular Gotek functions. So let's go ahead and get back over to the Amiga here, and I'll show you how everything kind of works here. So it's kind of cool. So here's the Amiga all hooked up with the Gotek in it. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on. And it's set to go to that Autoboot file that I was telling you guys about. So you get this Guru Meditation error screen. So if you just hit the left mouse button here, it'll get past all that and actually take you to this screen here, which is the screen to go ahead and configure everything. So like, for instance, if we want to go ahead and put whatever game or whatever application in here, we can. So for instance, like the only thing I got on here right now is Workbench. Let's go ahead and click Workbench, and then we can click Workbench file, and then we can put it in any slot we want to. Now obviously I want to go ahead and put it back into slot 1 here, so that's what I'm going to do. And there you go, guys. So to get out of this and to save, you just press F10, I believe it was. Yep. And it will go ahead and reboot. So it'll actually go into Workbench right now, as we can see. So it'll be that first disk of Workbench 3.1. So let me get some more like files onto this USB stick, guys, and I'll kind of show you some games loading. And I'm going to get this Amiga set back up on the desk like it should be, because it seems like everything's working properly like it should. So let me go ahead and get that done, and I'll be back in just a minute, guys. Okay, so I've got pretty much the entire Amiga game collection on this drive now. I've got a favorites folder set up. I've got Xcopy on here, and this is actually a couple days later because I've been playing the hell out of this thing. I've been having a great time with it, but I figured I'd show you guys kind of how I've got everything set up here. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in and turned on here. This is actually like the second or third time I've recorded this, guys, because once I recorded it, it was during the daytime, and it really sucked as far as trying to see stuff on the CRT screen. And then the next time, there was an issue with my color on my monitor, because my RGB cable somehow was like falling out the back of the Amiga, so I screwed that in. Alright, so you see the real-time clock is still working, guys, so that is great. Let me grab the mouse here. I didn't really want to boot into Workbench, but since we're there, we might as well go there. So this has been a pretty cool project, guys. I've been having a good time with this. Now it's probably accelerator and SCSI to SD hard drive emulation time, and going up into a higher kickstart ROM, probably like 3.12 or some special kind of 3-point ROM or something like that, a custom one. I don't know yet. We'll find out. But as you guys can see, here's the Amiga. Going to shell. Like I said, this is why I didn't really have a hard time switching over to Linux from Amiga. Simply because it's a lot like Linux. It's a lot like Unix, actually. But anyway, guys, let me go ahead and restart this, and then we'll go into that Autoboot file, and I'll kind of show you how everything is set up in there. Alright, so I gotta turn this. There we go. Alright, finally booted. Alright. So
hopefully we can see that. This is the problem I had the last time. This was really, really bad, so I changed it up to this green kind of print, which I think is going to show up a little bit better on the screen here. Before it was just like whitewashing it, just totally overexposed. And I tried to fix it in my video editor, but it didn't work very well. Alright guys, so here's that HXC, what is that, SDFE config file. So if we go into that here, you'll see this is where all the slots are, and these are all the games that I put into that favorites folder of mine. So it's just a few games that I've picked out. I mean, there's a ton of more. And then, of course, I got XCopy in here. And all you Amiga guys know what XCopy is. This is XCopy's one of the reasons, or one of the ways I was able to play Street Rod back in the day. Just kind of getting stuff from one of my coworkers that was into Amigas as well. Then the blank CD here, I was trying to copy discs over to the Gotek here using XCopy, and it works. It does work. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into a couple of games here, guys. So I don't know if I showed you guys this, the Amiga test kit. Alright guys, so we're going to go into the Amiga test kit now. And I just want to kind of show you guys that as well. So this is still a bare bones stock Amiga 2000. Just like it came out the factory. It just has another floppy drive and a Gotek installed into it. And that's about it. So as you guys can see, it's got the 68,000 Motorola CPU. It's NTSC running at 60 Hertz. Kickstart 1.2 ROM. Yeah, so some pretty cool stuff there. So we'll do a quick memory test here. Make sure that we're our memory's still working just fine. This computer's been running great since I basically refurbished it, I guess, is what you would call it. Alright, so let's went through all its rounds here, guys. I'm going to go back. But yeah, pretty cool. So everything does work on this. No problems with it. Everything works just fine. Absolutely just fine. So let's go ahead and reboot again. And I'll show you guys some gameplay here. Let's see. Let's go into. Let's try Dragons Lair here. Alright guys, so here's Dragons Lair. Now this game was really hard for people to crack back in the day because of the kind of encryption it had. It actually wrote more than 880 kilobytes onto the Amiga disk. And how it read the disk and other things that they had involved in kind of the encryption on that game made it kind of hard for the crackers to crack that game. It did take, you know, just a matter of a few months, but for Amiga game, yeah, that that was an eternity. So let's go ahead and click on this. Let me grab the controller here, guys. So this was probably one of my favorite games on the Amiga back in the day here. So let me just F1 it, normal game. And as you guys can see, it says like Dragons Lair Disc 1 down here. I don't know if you guys can actually see that with the camera. I hope you guys can. But you'll see once it loads, and we have to do a disk swap. That's why I kind of picked this as well, because I want to show you what disk swapping looks like in this. This is such a great game too. I used to love this game. Alright, so here we go. Disk swap time. So basically, I just turn the little dial here, and you'll see it on the screen change to Dragons Lair Disk 2. And it should auto-load. I don't have to press a button or anything. Yep, there we go. Now, this game's infamous, guys, for disk swapping. My God. It seems like you're swapping the disk after every scene. It's ridiculous. You would think they would put them all in order, but no, you're going from like disc 5 to disc 3, from disc 3 to disc 6 to disc... It's just insanity, y'all. This is one of those games that are back in the 80s, like in the arcades. We just used to sit there in line for like hours to sit and watch and try to play. Alright, let's go ahead and try another game here, guys. A couple more games and then that will be it. Let's see. Let's try... one of my favorites. Test Drive 2. If you guys know me, I am big into racing games. I always have been, always will be. Ever since the 2600 was out, playing Night Driver and like Grand Prix and God, other great games on there, man. It was fun times. And then since then, I've always been into racing games, racing simulators, whatever, up until nowadays with I always used to love that Accolade Presents with iRacing. So, but I've kind of cooled out on the iRacing scene. It just got a little expensive. So, but yeah, this game is great, guys. It has a whole bunch of different discs you can put into it, with like scenery discs. It has different scenes like California coastline and all this other stuff. And then it has supercar discs, and then it has the muscle car discs and other things you could put in here. So, pretty cool game. But I'm just going to do a quick race here, guys. And actually, I'm going to get this started, and I'm going to kind of fade off into the darkness here. But I did want to thank all my subscribers as well. I did see that I've gotten a ton of subscribers lately, and I just wanted to thank everybody that's been subbing and watching the content. If you're not subscribed and you like the content, go ahead and hit that like button down there, and then also hit that subscribe button as well, and hit that notification bell. That way you guys get notifications whenever I send new content out onto YouTube. So... yeah, this game was great, guys. It was great. This game brings back a lot of memories for me from when, right before I started driving. I remember driving, playing this game, but playing it like I was actually driving it and trying to do the speed limit and all this other crap. It was hilarious. But when I wasn't out driving with my permit with like my parents or whatnot, I was on this damn game playing this. It like playing it like, you know, like in real life, driving down the street or whatnot. Whoa. Woo. Crash. How didn't I not wreck there? Oh, wow. Look at that. That is craziness. Alright, I'll take that though. Such a great game, guys. If you have never played this, I would definitely suggest it. And it's on the SNES too. The Amiga version's got way better graphics and sound. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, but I wanted to thank you guys once again for watching my videos and basically supporting my channel. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, there's a link down below. You can go ahead and click to follow me on Twitter. And also I have a Facebook group if you wanted to join that to chit-chat about all these retro games and computers. Go ahead and click on that and go ahead and click on the invite button on there as well. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. It's getting late and I got to work tomorrow. So, all right, peace out, y'all.